Alabama communities are breathing a little easier this fall after the construction of tornado shelters following last spring's deadly storms. But senior national correspondent John Roberts reports those shelters could soon be blown away in a storm of government regulations.
It was the worst tornado outbreak in almost 100 years. And for Alabama schools, it was devastating.
Don't like to use the word insane or crazy, but that's exactly what it is.
DeKalb County Superintendent Charles Warren isn't talking about the rubble. He's talking about the red tape. The problem? A FEMA-funded tornado shelter that he'll likely have to tear down.
I think it's insane, to start with.
Same thing across the state in Marion County, where the Hackleburg Elementary and High Schools were demolished by an F5 tornado. With the students in portable classrooms and another storm season coming, FEMA put up hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars to build big tornado shelters on school property. Modular Connections is putting in one of them, a $500,000 bunker rated to the highest standards.
The building is rated to 250-mile-per-hour wind loads. That's going to withstand an F5 tornado.
But here's where the red tape comes in. You would think Alabama could keep the shelters, but FEMA regulations say when the schools are rebuilt, they can only have the shelters if they buy them, and there's no money to do that. If they can't pony up the cash, FEMA will actually give the schools more taxpayer money to bulldoze them.
I was shocked when I was told that they would actually help us to demolish it and haul the debris away. I was just totally shocked.
People here in Alabama are of two minds about all of this. First of all, they're very thankful that FEMA stepped in while their schools are being rebuilt. But to a person, none of them can understand why FEMA would leave them no other choice than to tear down a perfectly good tornado shelter desperately needed in communities like this.
You would think at some point some folks will sit down and take some common sense to this and say, hey, look, we've got a shelter up here that will host 600 people in Hackleburg that has just been hit with an F5 tornado in April. Why would we go and tear that down? That's nonsense.
I mean, these counties are totally strapped.
So now, Alabama Congressman Spencer Baucus is battling that red tape, and he went all the way to the top, writing this letter to the President of the United States, declaring the FEMA policy short-sighted and indefensible.
Well, it's a ridiculous regulation, and it tells you why the American people have lost confidence in their government or its ability to make the right choice.
In Marion County, the Hackleburg schools will be rebuilt with a hardened safe room inside. But Superintendent Ryan Hollingsworth says the town could still use the FEMA storm shelter. After all, 18 people died here back in April. In DeKalb County, once the FEMA shelter goes away, there won't be anything to protect students. Children would ride out a tornado in the hallways. And you only need to look at these pictures to see the possible consequences of that.
The FEMA regs make about as much sense to me as the Navy building a new ship, setting it out to sea, taking it out in the middle of the Atlantic, and then sinking it. Makes about the same sense.
We reached out to FEMA for a response to this. They didn't give us much more than other than to give us the regulation and say they continue to work with the community. But we did get this email, Brett, late this afternoon from Alabama Congressman Robert Aderholt, who says he spoke with the FEMA director, Craig Fugate, today, that the director acknowledged the problem with this and that they would continue to work over the next 30 days to get it solved. Brett?
Amazing story. We'll follow it. John, thank you. An FBI agent testified today that the man accused of trying